dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Good to be with you on this Father's Day. We begin tonight in Pike County, where 7-year-old Declan McCoy is in the fight of his life as he battles cancer. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox shows us how his family, along with many others, came together today to pray for healing.
Declan Strong is a theme across Pike County. The 7-year-old's dad says doctors recently sent the child back home after they discovered his cancer had spread.
He beat it, and then on his last scans after his treatment was over, they did the last scans and his lungs was covered.
Now the McCoy family and the community are hoping for divine intervention. Several gathered at Pikeville City Park to pray for God to cure Declan.
There's been a lot of people messaging me and say he's changed their lives. He's touched them in a way they ain't never been touched before. He's touched a lot of people.
Josh McCoy said doctors were not sure how long Declan McCoy would be alive. His family, as well as the community, are learning from his courage.
He's a fighter. He's the strongest person I know. If you just look at him, and you can just see it. He's fighting hard.
As community members prayed, McCoy had this message to parents.
Just hold your kids tight and love them every day, because you never know.
Praying and pleading for a cure. In Pikeville, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Josh McCoy and the Pikeville community are hoping everyone who hears Declan McCoy's story will join them in praying. A teenager is dead after drowning in the Morgan County part of Paintsville Lake. The Morgan County coroner tells us the 16-year-old was from McGoffin County and was swimming yesterday with friends near the Lost Creek boat ramp. The ongoing investigation is being handled by the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources Law Enforcement Division. The victim was taken to the medical examiner's office in Frankfort for an autopsy. His name has not been released. 2 people are in the hospital after a crash in Rockcastle County. Around 4:30 this afternoon, Brindle Ridge Volunteer Fire Department received a call for a single vehicle motorcycle accident on North Wilderness Road. More than a dozen firefighters responded to the scene along with Kentucky State Police. The 2 people on the motorcycle were reportedly airlifted to a hospital for medical attention.
Most of the region is dry as we go into tonight, but we are watching out for some showers right now, mainly over our southwestern counties. Here's a look at First Alert Pinpoint Doppler. As you can see, showers continue mainly south of the Howard Rogers Parkway over portions of McCreary County into Willie County, also Knox County as well. A heavier shower now just to the east of Williamsburg over far eastern Whitley County, also just to the west of downtown Barberville and Knox County. A heavy shower not too far away from Middlesboro and Bell County, also into Claiborne County, Tennessee as well. A few heavier showers are possible, and more spotty showers cannot be ruled out as we go into tonight. Here's a live look from the London Corbin Airport as rain continues to fall in Laurel County as well. That current temperature at 67 degrees as we go into tonight. This is all thanks to an area of low pressure over portions of Missouri. This will continue pushing off to the east, and as it does so, more showers are likely on Monday, but really from Monday also into your Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday as well, as heavy showers are possible. Now all those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. On June 19th in 1865, more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, slaves were free. Now more than a century later, one Eastern Kentucky group is celebrating how far they have come. WYMT's RJ Johnson has more from Harlan County.
Dozens of community members gathered at the Eastern Kentucky Social Club to take part in the club's second annual Juneteenth celebration. Former president of the Lynch chapter, Ronnie Hampton, says it is important to celebrate how far they have come since 1865.
America has history, all history, not just some. And this is part of that history. Our people need to know where we come from, how we got to where we are, and this is part of it.
He says it means a great deal to even have the opportunity to celebrate this holiday.
The 4th of July was never for us. And then the word came out that, Juneteenth, that we were set free as well. So it means a lot to us. This is our holiday.
President of the Tennessee chapter, Andrea Massey, says she wants the entire community to take part in the remembrance because it is important to know the history.
I think it's educational, something we need to do in the whole Tri-City area, not just in Lynch. It needs to be a community effort for Harlan County.
Hampton says events like this help keep the name of everyone that came before him alive.
And we were a community where we all took care of each other. And now that things are not like they used to be, the coal mines are gone, families are moving out, people are dying off, it's very important that we not let anything die. History has to be remembered.
Which is why he is calling on younger people to keep making the change that is needed.
We're going to die off. What's going to happen to it? People like Shayla has to keep that history alive and let our people know where they came from.
In 2021, Juneteenth became the first new federal holiday in nearly 40 years. In Harlan County, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, the Juneteenth federal holiday is tomorrow, which means most major banks will be closed. NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange will not be trading. Federal offices and schools will also be closed. Governor Beshear is also expected to sign a proclamation tomorrow declaring it Juneteenth National Freedom Day in Kentucky. Corrective work is expected to begin on a roundabout project in Whitley County tomorrow. This is on US 25W. The project area will extend from Kentucky 2987 to the I-75 overpass. It will include lane closings on both the north and southbound sides of US 25W, but one lane of traffic will be open at all times and controlled by flaggers. It's expected to be completed Saturday, but you should expect significant delays this week. A beloved Hazard man, affectionately known as the mayor of Wabaco, has died. Randolph Campbell was a decorated veteran in the Korean War, and his hands built homes and businesses that still stand in Hazard today. Even though he attended MC Napier High School, he was known as one of the Hazard Bulldogs' biggest fans. His name is on the doghouse the football team runs out of each home game. His visitation will be Thursday from 11 until his memorial service at 1 at Maggard's Mountain View Chapel in Hazard. Randolph Campbell was 91. This Father's Day, some dads in Lexington headed out to the Bluegrass Fair. This was the last day to visit the fair. Dan Stennett and his children and grandkids were with him. He wanted to check out the rides, eat fair food, and just spend some time with his family.
It's just a time for us to be together and do something different. And so I don't know if it's ever been on Father's Day before, so I thought, I want to go. So here we are.
The U.S. Census Bureau says there are an estimated 72 million fathers in the U.S., and 29 million of them are also grandfathers. There are about 2 million single fathers in the U.S. with kids under 18. President Biden spent Father's Day in Delaware. This week, the president will head to California as his re-election efforts take on a new urgency. CBS's Skylar Henry reports from the White House.
President Biden will announce a more than $600 million investment to combat the climate crisis during his West Coast swing. He'll also attend a few fundraisers. Mr. Biden rallied with union workers Saturday, one day after the AFL-CIO and other major unions endorsed him. He was in full campaign mode, highlighting the administration's achievements.
Most importantly, we're not only changing this country, we're transforming it.
In his speech, he never mentioned his predecessor. However, other GOP presidential hopefuls did, concerned about the federal charges facing former President Trump.
There's some very disturbing conduct in there, including the showing of these documents to other people that were not cleared to be able to see them.
But some Republicans are accusing the president of politicizing the Justice Department.
To see a former president of the United States be subject to an indictment by the administration of the current president, that sends a terrible message to the wider world.
Despite his legal troubles, recent CBS News polling still shows Trump well ahead of the growing list of GOP challengers, looking to leapfrog him and get the party's nomination. The latest CBS News poll also shows that around 42% of Democrats don't think President Biden should run for a second term. Officials tell CBS News the president is slowly building out his campaign team, and it'll take some time before a full team is in place. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
U.S. officials say the United States and China have failed to overcome their most serious disagreements, but have agreed to continue talks. U.S. officials say Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who's in China, was able to secure a visit to Washington by the Chinese foreign minister during a nearly 6-hour meeting. Blinken will have higher-level contacts with the Chinese on Monday. British officials say Russia and Ukraine are suffering high numbers of military casualties as Ukraine fights to dislodge the Kremlin's forces from occupied areas in the early stages of its counteroffensive. They say Russian losses are probably at their highest level since the peak of the battle for Bakhmut in March.
Multiple shootings are being reported across the country this weekend. I'm Cristian Benavides with this latest wave of gun violence.
And a busy week of weather is on tap across the mountains. All those details coming up in just a few minutes.